All right, here we go. Today we have three-time boxing world champion, the legendary Michael Nunn is in the building. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Hey, thanks, Vlad, man. I appreciate you inviting me to come out, man. I'm looking forward to it.
But I've been a long time fan. It's such an honor to have you sitting here with me today.
Well, it's an honor for me to be doing an interview with you as well.
Thank you. Well, I want to get your whole story. I want to start at the very beginning. So you grew up in Davenport, Iowa?
Davenport, Iowa, correct.
Okay. And it was 4 kids?
Well, 2 girls and 2 boys, yeah, exactly.
4 kids. Okay, and it was, you were raised by your mom?
My mother, yes, sir.
Okay, where was your dad around?
My dad, he wasn't around. That's all I know. All I know is my mom raised me, and, and I thank God for raising, because she raised a heck of a man, and there's no such thing as a woman can't raise a man, because my mother made me everything that I ever became, so all praise, given to her, and, thank God as well.
So did you ever meet your dad?
Yeah. We had a good relationship. Everything was good. I mean, it's just that, I was a kid. I don't know what happened. I never asked my mom. It was never important. As I was growing up, I just knew that my mom was my mom, and, I loved my mom. She's my mom and dad.
Okay. So during this time, growing up in Davenport, what kind of area was it? Was it kind of a middle-class area?
It was, I'll say middle class because it's back in the Midwest, and it was middle class. Hardworking people from, down south come from the south to the north back in the 60s, and my mother happened to be one of those persons. Just a hard-working community in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying?
Right, but you're talking about a single mom with 4 kids. That must have been tough.
It was real tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was super tough.
I mean, as a kid, before you started boxing, were you getting in trouble, or you were pretty much a good kid?
I was pretty much a good kid, but I had my, I get in trouble in school and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a fist fight here, or whatever, but, nothing too drastic.
Okay, so were you getting into a lot of fist fights at school or not really?
I had my share, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Did you win them all?
I won most of them. I got a pretty impressive fight record. Yeah.
Okay. So around that time when you were a teenager, a bunch of your friends were boxing.
Yeah.
So you decided to try it out as well.
Yeah, what happened, a guy named Alvino Pena, let him rest in peace, one of the greatest trainers ever come out of the state of Iowa, sensational coach and a good man. He's military-minded, so he was a Spanish guy, and he knew how to deal with his kids, especially his hard-headed kids from the neighborhood or whatever. So, he was real good about, disciplining, and you come to the gym, you come to work. So I'd go down to the gym, and I sit around watching my buddies box and work out every day. And he told me, he said, you've been coming for a week. He said, you come here next week, you're going to put a glove on, shadow box, do a push-up, jumping jack, jump rope, you're going to do something, right? And I said, cool, Albino. So when I came back that Monday, he said, hey, I told you, come back, you got to do something. So it was weird, Vlad, I started boxing, and he like, who been training you? I said, no, what do you mean who's been training me? Nobody. I just admired Muhammad Ali so much, and, I just tried to do everything Ali done. It was just crazy, just a young kid growing up in Davenport, not having no father figure, nothing, and I just admired Muhammad Ali so much. So I was just boxing. Whatever I seen him do, I tried it, and just so happened when I done it, it was done at a good pace, and they like, well, you've been trained before. I said, I've never been trained before, and I was just a pretty skilled guy, and I thank God for instilling those talents upon me, but, everything just worked out for me.
Okay, so you start boxing, and, Alvino Pena, he said that if you worked hard, you could be a world champion.
When the man seen me, he told me, he said, listen, man, he said, you keep doing what you're doing. He said, I guarantee you. He told everybody. He's the first guy that ever told me that I could be a world champion. He's the first person to tell me, and this was probably like 1976, 1977, so, I mean, it was amazing how he, superseded and seen things so far ahead, but with the right mindset and the proper training, you can be what you want to be, and he was sure right about that.
I mean, as a kid, when this boxing trainer in your neighborhood tells you could be a world champion, and at that time, there has never been a world champion from Iowa.
Never.
Did you actually believe him and take it to heart?
Well, I was like, yeah, he just talk. He just want me to come to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Typical boxing trainer. You know what I'm saying? They tell you this just to get you to fight or whatever. But he was really sincere. He was dead heart. So
Okay, so now you start training.
Yes.
Did things escalate pretty quickly after that?
Very quickly. I mean, it was amazing because when I was a young guy, they was like wanting to put me with older guys, but when you get to be like 17 years old to box the open guys, and I'm beating everybody up in the juniors, they figure like, well, we heard this guy here, I'm turning 17 or 16 years old, so we can advance to the Golden Gloves because they wanted to see how far I could really go in this great sport of boxing, and I just really I took off, man. It was amazing when I got the opportunity.
Well, right. You started competing in the Golden Gloves.
Yeah, I started competing in the Golden Gloves, and I would get to the tournaments, and they would always want to give me the outstanding awards, trophies before the fight team started. I said, no, gotta wait like everybody else. But I just superseded everybody, and they like, well, he's gonna win this, he's gonna win that, and it's whatever division I went to, the guys would either lead the division or go up in weight or whatever. They didn't want to, be in the division. I was there. Nobody wanted to fight me, and that was great, fighting in the state of Iowa. But I had to test the waters, nationally or either worldwide. And when I got the opportunity to do that, it got even better because I'm like, well, I can be a world champion. I mean, the belief system, started to change, and people like Emmanuel Stewart, Mr. Bob Sirkine, which is my boxing advisor, and like just kept me on the right track. And I had a cousin named Marshall Jackson. This guy was like John Gotti on me. He wouldn't let me do nothing wrong. Yeah, like I couldn't make no mistakes. But I thank him. Let him rest in heaven. He passed within the past couple of years, but he was just so stern, and at the time, he was so hard on me. I didn't understand it, but now that I'm older and I look back, he really saved my life. Him and a lot of other older gentlemen back in the Quad Cities that seemed that I had a talent, and I was just young and full of piss and vinegar, didn't know better, and I'm just out there doing stupid stuff. And like, man, you can really be a world champion. And when I started to really believe in it, and it came to fruition, and I thank all them men that led, taught, and guided me, and kept me on the right track. And my greatest joy, Vlad, is a lot of those guys that passed on. Some are still living, but some passed on. But they was there July 28th, 1988, when I knocked out Frank Tate, becoming the middleweight champion of the world. These just regular working guys, hustling guys in the streets, whatever, but just wanted to see a young dude do good because my state has never had a world champion before. So they had somebody to band on and to get behind and to push. And they really wanted to see me prosper and be successful. So I give special thanks to a lot of those older guys because they kept me out of a lot of SHIT, man. I would have probably been in trouble or dead a long time ago without them, but I want to give special thanks to all the guys that kept me on the right track because they seen the talent when I didn't see it. And especially Marshall. That was my older cousin. He was like a military general. I can call his wife right now. She used to tell him, Marshall, you was once upon a time 20 years old and you was doing dumb stuff, so you made mistakes, and he's all right. He's going to be all right. Just let him do his thing. He's growing up. He's learning. You got to go through it to grow through it.
Well, you won 3 Iowa Golden Gloves.
Yes, I did.
Titles.
Yeah, yes, I did. 3 different weight classes.
Yeah, and your amateur record was 168-8.
Exactly, correct.
So you had a few losses along the way.
Oh, no, that's all part of the process, and that's how I got good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to, understand how to lose to be a winner, but I mean, it was, it was great. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't change nothing.
Well, just as a side note, because you mentioned how much you looked up to Muhammad Ali.
Oh, loved.
Right around 1980, which, Ali had his last fight. Mm-hmm. And leading up to the fight, he was in bad shape. You saw these interviews, and he's slurring his words. He's talking slow. Because remember, Ali was the rhyming guy, the fast. He's smarter than everyone. He can out-talk you.
Yeah. He'll talk you.
He'll crack on you and everything.
And
you're seeing these last few interviews, and the Parkinson's is starting to really play a role. And then his last fight against Trevor Berbick was awful.
Tragic. I don't want to see that fight no more. And, I don't want to see the Larry Holmes Muhammad Ali fight. Those 2 fights I don't never have to see again. I mean, because, I loved Ali so much. I don't want to see him take that unnecessary punishment that he took.
Yeah, I mean, people were upset. I remember
very upset.
When I interviewed, Larry Holmes, we talked about how Trevor Berbick died. I think his, nephew beat him to death with, a metal pipe or something.
Yeah, I heard something.
And he was like, yeah, exactly. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He's like, God don't like ugly, and, that's what he gets. Berbick ended up getting murdered by his own nephew at 52 years old some years later.
I don't feel bad for him. God don't like ugly. You do ugly to people, it'll come back to you. God don't like ugly. And he was ugly. He beat anybody. He beat his daughter. Let me forget about that guy because this is so tragic. And his soul is resting. I don't know in peace or not, but it's resting.
And I remember when we interviewed Mike Tyson, and he fought Trevor Berbick. He said he hated him so much for what he did to Ali that he just let him have it.
He obliterated him. He destroyed him. He punished him. He crushed him.
Exactly.
Yeah, he did that.
Berbick was the last person to fight Ali, and he hurt Ali very bad. When you fought him, was there any revenge?
100%, yes, no doubt about it. I was going to kill him. I saw the way he was hitting Ali really hard with everything he had. Ali didn't have nothing left. He could have been, he was trying to kill him. So I said, I can't wait till I get him.
He said that was probably the most angry fight that he had ever been in.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yep. So it hurts you to actually see
Yeah,
Ali
it
in
does
that.
because you had so much admiration and respect for him, and then for him to be in the ring and shouldn't have never been in the ring due to his condition.
Yeah.
But we understand how things go, about the money or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, just he should have never been in the ring. Yeah.
I mean, was that a concern? Because I mean, at this point, you
It's
sound
always a concern, no doubt
completely
about it.
lucid.
Yeah.
But I have interviewed boxers that by the time they reach your age, they're talking a lot more slowly, and Riddick Bowe, is not 100% when I interviewed him. Obviously Muhammad Ali went through what he went through. Were you worried that if you stayed with the sport that eventually this might affect your brain and all the damage?
Well, you got to understand, I'm human just like everybody else. I'm not Superman.
Right.
So it's always going to be on your mind to know that, if you stay around doing anything too long, especially a rough gangster, bad sport like boxing, sit around, 45, 50 years old, taking punishment unnecessarily is not worth for nobody. I mean, boxing short term, you do it while you can do it, then you get out the way. You try to be the best you can as you do it, but there's going to come a time when you can't box no more. Now, I would probably love to still box today, but now that I'm older, I look back like, I had to be crazy. Now that I'm 61 years old, I look back, I used to do that. I had to be crazy, but I guess we all have to have a little craziness in us to do it, but it was great for me. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it.